So you want to buy your first vehicle and you're asking how to just do it. I'm going to show you exactly that. But first, you must understand who I am to take my advices. My name is Yassine Morghadi. I started learning about businesses when I was 14 years old. And actually, it's the only thing that I know about. So probably I am the best person that can give you these advices. So let's get started with the first one. I bought my first vehicle, which is a bike, when I was in the last year of high school. It was absolutely from my money, and it was the hardest year in my life. Well, you must understand this, is that the last year in high school is the hardest year in the entire educational system. Everybody knows this. Maybe a lot of people that are in college that can disagree with that, but efficiently, arguably, it's the number one hardest year. Yet, I was able to work, I was able to study and become the best in my class, and also to buy a vehicle. And another thing is to make YouTube videos. I know you want to be this guy, you want to be that guy that did all of this, so you must follow these few steps. So the first thing that you must understand is that you must not distract yourself. I had this mentality before, is that I must watch all of the videos for me to become like all of those people. And I must understand, watch these Instagram videos to understand how they think and what they do. Well, actually, no. Because if I watch like 100 people's Instagram videos to understand how they think, I will end up just watching thousands of videos for no reason. The only way to do it is to actually get to work. For me, I was working the entire day. I was studying for 6 hours, maybe 8 hours, sometimes like 2 hours a day, depending on what the day, if I have exams, if I have like scheduling in school. And then I make YouTube videos, especially in the weekends and vacation. But I was trying to make YouTube videos each and every single weekend. Second to that, and actually, I think it was the first period of my life that I got 1 million views in a single video. It was on TikTok. I was trying to explain to people how to edit a few videos and how to make fire from nothing. And it just somehow got 1 million views. I was so happy and gassed up about it. I was like, hey, I'm a TikToker now, I guess. But it was not a big deal because it didn't make me money. It didn't make anything. So at the time, actually between classes, so if I have like, let's say 2 hours of break between classes, I go out and try to sell things. As an example, band heads. As an example, bracelets. I use also the season. So it's like, if it's like Valentine's Day, I try to sell people some bracelets. I'm like, hey, this is the best gift in Valentine's Day. You need this and you must buy it from me. I am the guy. And I've actually bought a few rings as well. That was the most horrible investments that I ever bought. I end up just giving it to my friends away. But yes, I was just working hard each and every single day. And also I was making YouTube videos. So at the time, I was trying to make it big on YouTube. I was trying to do all of these crazy challenges that I see. And also to actually execute the things and the lessons that I've learned about editing, because the year before I was trying to learn about editing without even executing anything because I was very stupid. Then I had the idea of really actually putting the work and executing all of the things that I did. However, even if you do all of this, you will not buy a vehicle, you will not buy a bike, you will not buy anything. Nothing you will buy except if you have a goal, which is the step number 2, is that set a goal. Set a goal that, yes, I want to buy this vehicle. For me, actually, I was borrowing my bike. I was borrowing the bike from a friend. And the friend didn't have a bike. So you must ask yourself, how is that even possible? He doesn't have a bike. So how can I borrow the bike from him? He doesn't even have the bike. Well, actually, because it's his dad's bike. So I have tried to convince him. It was a very long process, trust me. And yes, I was trying to convince him that he must give me his dad's bike without not even 1 penny in return, because yes, it's a big investment. So yes, I actually gave him some things in return. I was trying to film some Instagram posts for him and Instagram videos and also edit them for him, but he was not very, that big of an Instagrammer. So that was a very light work, to say the least. So I promise, when you end up this video, you will know exactly how to buy your first bike or your first vehicle without any problem at all. So you must ask another thing, which is, how was my vehicle? So was it just like was it bad or was it actually good? Well, actually it was good. And here's the thing. So for me personally, according to my money and my calculation, I thought that the bike that I will buy will be very bad. So that was my motivation. I said to myself, any bike that I buy will be better than the bike of my dad's, of my friend's dad, because it was a little bit, a little bit old, but yes, it did the job. However, I actually broke it one time and it was very horrible. You know how hard it is to break someone else's bike, and then you must fix it. So it's expensive to fix that bike. And also, I was stranded in an area where there's no population. Can you imagine? I was trying to deliver this bracelet for some guy that lives in nowhere. I was trying to get in the bag, but that was the worst decision that I ever did. I didn't even know that area ever existed. However, I went there. I did deliver that pack. When I was going back in some area that I don't even know, there's no even one house nearby, I found out that the bike was broken. So yes, I found out a way. Thank God I found out a way to fix it at the end of the day, and yes, to give it back to my friend's dad. And I didn't even tell him. I didn't tell him that yes, it's broken. Or even if I tell him, because maybe I did tell him, so if I tell him, it's better now, because I renewed something that was actually broken and it was actually old. So I just renewed it, and it was very hard. So the plan here was just to buy a bike, because it will be better than my friend's dad bike, because that will be a better investment for me. So yes, that was the first step. Yet, when I was going to buy it, actually I was going to buy it with $30. So it took me a lot of time to gather that money. I was going with my friend. That friend was going to buy it. Then my family called and they were like, hey, you will not buy that bike. And I was like, no, that's my decision. That's my money. That's the money that I worked for. That was my goal. So I will buy whatever I want. Well, they said, no, actually, no, you will not buy that bike, because that will be a horrible investment. It's not a good bike. And even if you buy it, maybe like every day you need to fix it, and it will be even more expensive than the good bikes. So they convinced me to buy a bike and to borrow the money from them. So borrowed money from my family to buy a bike. So it was like an extra $20. Can you imagine that? An extra $20. So even double the price. And it was, brother, I was going crazy at that point. Like, how can I pay them at that point? So at that time, of course, I went all in. I understood that there's one way for me. I don't have any other option. I must pay them back. The bike was actually good. It was very valid. It's not one of the fancy bikes that everybody buys, right? It was a normal one. Yet it did the job. Actually, 3 years later now, I say that it was very good investment. Arguably one of the best investments that I did. Maybe after the phone, maybe, and probably it's even better than the phone. However, let's make it clear here, is that it was a good investment. I bought that bike. I was borrowing money, so it was in depth then. Then I worked so hard on Valentine's Day to sell people bracelets, to be able to give the money back to my parents, right? To give the money back to my family. So that was the second step. And as I promised, once you finish this video, you will be able to buy a vehicle, and that's what gets us to the third point. So what is the third point? I've given you the entire story, yet there was one thing that I didn't talk about, and you must ask yourself. You want to know this because if there is a secret in this video, this is the secret, which is the mindset that I was going on was different. It actually, matter of fact, was different than any mindset that I had before, any mindset that came after it, in at least the 2 years after it, because that mindset was unique. I was pressurized. It's actually the hardest year in my life school career. It's very hard, and I was not the best in my class then. I was just trying to, figure it out to be the best in the class. And actually there was a lot of subjects, and they were the most important one, because I was doing physics sciences and it was bad at physics. Can you imagine that? Being bad at physics while you're studying physics sciences. It was the most horrible decision and situation they can ever be in, and you want to be there. So I was very pressurized with that. I was doing sports at the time. I was trying to be gassed up. I was trying to be jacked as much as possible. And at the same time making YouTube videos. And at the same time working on multiple businesses. And at the same time trying to film for other people. Basically just trying to do everything under the sun. Just like make relations, be a better human, be the best human that I can possibly be in that year. And that was the only goal that I was going in. So the mindset that I was going in is that don't lose any time. It was actually at the time, I was waking up at like 6 a.m. a.m., sleeping at about like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. No one cares, because I understand that the point is that no one cares. You're tired or not, no one cares. You're tired, no one cares. Is the job done? Back to work. Is the job done? Back to work again. That's the only thing that I said to myself for me to be able to buy that bike. Yes, I know a lot of people will say, my dear viewer, will say to you, it's only a bike, it does not worth it. Bro, tell them to shut up and go to their parents to give them their money, right? Just tell them that. Let them go to their parents, borrow the money, or please, please, please give me the money for me to buy a bike. They're losers. You don't want to be them. You don't want to be them, brother. You never, and I will never be them, and you don't want to be them, and everybody that is subscribed to this channel don't want to be one of those people that goes to their parents to be like, hey, I want this money, please give me. You are a grown man. You must be able to buy things for yourself, because that's the only way for you to make it. So maybe if you go through all of the steps that I told you, maybe if you do these 3 steps that I told you, maybe you will never be able to buy your first vehicle. Maybe you will never be able to buy a bike. And maybe you'll be able to buy a supercar, like a Bugatti as an example. So always focus on your mastery, and see you in the next one.